been drawing a lot this past year, and I've been doing so on my partner's old Wacom Intuos tablet. Now, he's had this thing since before we even met, so it shouldn't be a surprise that it eventually started to give up. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not completely dead, but it has started to act up and not always registering my strokes, and it kind of decides to click the buttons whenever it wants to. And while it still works, the process has become more annoying than enjoyable. And since I really enjoy drawing and want to get even better at it, I decided that it was time to get a new tablet. And when I started to look, I looked at non-display tablets, because I have gotten used to working on the Intuos tablet and it works fine. But I also looked at display tablets because, one, it seemed like it might help me gain more confidence, and also the process of drawing on a display tablet versus a non-display tablet seems kind of different, and I felt like I might prefer a display tablet. Now, non-display tablets are, of course, a lot cheaper, but the difference wasn't as big as I expected it to be. It might also have played into it that a lot of display tablet companies currently are doing sales on a lot of their tablets, like their display tablets. And since the price difference wasn't too extreme, I decided to get a display tablet. A big part of that is that I want to take drawing more seriously, especially with the rap project coming up, and I have a lot of other things I want to draw for. So after a lot of looking back and forth and thinking and overthinking and thinking some more, I decided on a Huion Kamva 16 Generation 3 tablet. Hello, I'm Emilia. I'm an indie author who's currently trying to level up my drawing skills. I was initially looking at XP Pen tablets because I've heard a lot of good things about them and they're affordable. But I am also someone who takes their time with bigger purchases. Like, I think it took at least a year for me to decide on what keyboard to get to my computer. So when I stumbled upon Huion, I got even more, not overwhelmed, but I had another like, oh, I need to really think about this. One of the more important things for me was that I wanted the new tablet to be around the same size as the Intuos 4 medium-sized tablet that I had. I couldn't go much bigger because it would not fit on my desk. And also, like, I didn't want it any smaller, especially not going with a display tablet. And also, like, I really use the dial on the Wacom tablet I have, so I needed at least one dial. And also buttons, because I don't always want to stretch over to my keyboard. Now, I eventually came to the conclusion that the size and price range were very, very close in the XP Pen and Huion tablets, and they had really similar like functionality. In the end, the kind of thing that tipped me over to Huion was the tablet design. And the fact that Huion tablets doesn't have rounded edges and rounded corners. I don't know, I just really prefer straight edges. It looks classier, simpler, and to me it looks better. And another thing that kind of makes more sense and isn't as shallow, I guess, is the fact that I did not find anything about the XP Pen tablet being able to be used as a non-display tablet, while Huion did use that as a selling point. That it was really simple to plug it in and not having on, but still being able to use it as a regular non-display tablet. And since I'm still learning, I really thought that that is a good thing, because what if I don't like using a display tablet and want to just keep using it as a pen tablet instead? Now I see pros and cons with using it as both, which is why the dual functionality ended up being a selling point. So good job to Huion for their marketing, making me think of something I didn't even think about in the first place. I mean, you could use the XP Pen tablet with the display on just as like tracking another screen, but I am easily distracted. I would need it to be like completely black or just one color, and it wouldn't be as simple from what I found when I tried to look it up. Now I can be wrong, but I didn't find anything, so I will go with that. Now, I ended up really enjoying having a display tablet, and I don't know, something with this tablet maybe just shiny new thing syndrome, but I find myself almost like skipping to my desk to set it up and be like, oh, I'm gonna sit here and draw, which, like, that's the most important thing, that it's fun. And the display has really made a difference in how confident my strokes are. I'm not sure about the science behind it, but my long strokes looks a lot better now than they did before. And also it kind of feels professional and I feel like I look cool. So now I can see how I might want to switch between modes and positions when I draw more. And to be honest, having the display doesn't make a huge difference in my lacking skills, but it does make the process more fun and less tiring. Like, I will still be hunched over. I find myself wanting to be close, but I don't have to hunch over the tablet and look like this at the screen, so I can see my neck might be spared. And if I'm gonna be hunched over anyway, I might as well spare one part of me. And the stand really does make a huge difference in how hunched over I am, so that's also a big thing. Now, the technical part. The third generation of Huion Kamva 16 has a resolution of 2.5K and it's 15.8 inches, so almost 16 inches. It has an anti-glare canvas glass, which is great for my setup since sometimes the sun shines in it. I don't see anything. I have to just move away from my computer or pull down the blinds. And the glass also feels really smooth to draw on. Not too glassy, but not so much friction that I get scared to scratch it. It actually does feel really close to the feeling of drawing on paper. It also has a lot of buttons to customize, and since my setup puts my keyboard a bit far away from me, it really helps to have them. It has 6 buttons, 2 dials, which can be set up to multiple functions, and the pen has 3 buttons as well, including one that opens up a quick menu with 6 other functions. And I actually think this is a Huion thing specifically. This model also comes color calibrated from the factory with an included report. And honestly, I don't understand much of what the report says, but I can also see, if you have more knowledge, how it could benefit you to know exactly what has been done. The pen is very similar to my Wacom pen, but it is lighter and 1 extra button. I guess it would even out since the Wacom has an eraser thing on top of it, but I have the first button set as E, which changes to eraser, and I find that to be even easier. I never really used the eraser part of the Wacom pen anyway, so for me it's not a deal breaker, but it might be something to consider since I can see how some people would like to use the eraser thingy. But that leads us to the other cons. Because of the high resolution on the small screen, menus and text can appear quite small. This is not an issue for me personally. I would actually be more bothered if everything was too big. Like, I have DNF'd books because of too big text. But this is something that's not too hard to fix in Windows if you would want to fix it. And it's also something I can see being an issue for other people. Speaking of Windows, the software is pretty straightforward. But I had some problem with the pressure sensitivity not working in Photoshop. It worked in the software though, but this was also something that was easy to fix, but I had to look it up. The same problem also occurred when downloading the driver to another computer, and it affected the Wacom tablet and software on that computer too. It did work to just reinstall the driver, but it seems to be a recurring issue. And the place I found information about it was on Huion's own website, so they are aware of the issue. And it seems to be like a WinTab issue, if that tells you anything. Another thing is that the tool for replacing nibs was really hidden, and I had to look up a video on how to use it. The Wacom had this claw thing that I assume you could use for the Huion as well, but Huion has built it into the pen holder. It's pretty easy to use, but it was absolutely not something I would have figured out on my own. But once again, they had a video posted about how to do it, giving me good vibes from the company itself. I will also mention that the screen is pretty dark, but that might be a me issue. I have not had any eye pain issues from it, so it might actually be a good thing in the long run. But it's still worth mentioning, especially if you have other screens as well, the difference will be visible. Also, I've come to realize that a display tablet is not for the technically illiterate. Setting everything up in the first place was a hassle when I didn't know which of the cables to use and how things would work. I ended up using the 3-in-1 cable, which was pretty straightforward actually, but it's a chunky and messy cable to work with. Now, I could use the USB-C port on my graphics card and just connect it with one tablet. I tried it and it works, but the USB-C cable that came with, and for me would have been easier to use, is really short, so it doesn't work with the way my desk is set up. I have an inverted computer case and like it would have to go around all the way. One thing I kind of miss though with the Huion tablet, it's a super tiny thing, really, but the Wacom tablet had this like thin fabricy protection sleeve that I can just put around it and keep dust away from everything, because this house does get dusty. The Huion tablet didn't have that. For me, it's not too much of a problem because I have some extra fabric and I do have a sewing machine and I know how to use it, so I will just have to make one myself. But it is that one tiny thing, tiny little issue. Now, in Huion's defense, it did come with a little cloth to like wipe the dust off, but I'm gonna have to make a cover for it, just for my own sake and sanity. Otherwise, I'm overwhelmingly satisfied with this tablet. And while I still have a lot of things to learn about it and set it up properly, it has made me really excited to draw again. And I'm really looking forward to see how it will hold up in the future, especially with me having so many things I want to draw soon, like the illustrations and covers for Wrapped in Ocean. I have a novella coming soon, hopefully, that I want to do the cover for, and just a lot of other fun art, like stickers and character art. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great adventure, and I hope to see you in the next video.